Hey everyone, Yulia from Expressia here, and welcome back to our community events where we help you learn more about journey mapping and CX in general from industry experts. Expressia is an online collaborative tool that can help you visualize your customer journeys, create personas and network maps, and invite teammates to collaborate with you in real time. With that, let's get started.
And thanks everyone for joining today. As Veronica just mentioned, I'll be kind of talking through a bit about how navigating some of the challenges that come with particularly B2B research and kind of complex fields and some of the considerations that come with that when developing personas and customer journey maps, and how we kind of used a low-touch, low-tech diary study to kind of form the first ever personas and journey maps at BlackLine, the company I currently work at. So without further ado, let me share my slides. All right, great. So Veronica just, gave the whole spiel about me, but yeah, so the manager of user research at BlackLine, which is in the B2B accounting space. So we provide enterprise level software to large corporations and kind of not so much small companies, kind of like mid-market, mid-level companies as well. And I started there almost 3 years ago now as the first researcher, which is an important point that'll come up later. Starting to just kind of grow the research function there and build out the team at this kind of mid-sized company and kind of a complex space, and just really trying to bring more understanding of our users and the people that we serve there to the entire company. So a little bit of background of, what our use case was for developing the personas and customer journey maps at my current company. We figured out that we have a pretty diverse user base. When I started, we started building an internal research panel with our user base. So that's, people that agree to let us contact them for research projects. And over time, I was noticing we had quite a number of interesting job titles that I never really heard discussed in the common everyday meetings and talking to stakeholders. We had maybe 2 or 3 roles that we kind of talked about a lot, but I was seeing that there was a lot more that we weren't capturing. And so we really wanted to kick this off as hey, I don't think we're really representing our user base that well, and we need to develop some personas to kind of figure out who we actually are serving. And second, we really wanted to focus on people and not user roles. In B2B, it's pretty common that we become biased towards our own products and our own solutions, and we just wanted to understand more about the people and not look at them as users of the product. We speak a lot in oh, it's a administrator for our product, or oh, they're the ones doing these tasks in our product. But just think more holistically about the people and what their activities are and what their motivations and challenges are, and less be so product specific and be so biased towards us. People we serve, they have a lot going on. They'll be using different systems, and it's just important for us to make sure we're seeing the entire piece of the pie and understanding that. And then we also just didn't have any set of communal personas or user journey maps when I started. And we really wanted to make sure the whole company was aligned. And, we were working off the same information, and we know who we're serving, and just wanted to evangelize it across the company and say, hey, we want to make sure we're working on the same information and there's no miscommunications. So when it comes to diary studies, there's a few tried and true methods. When it comes to developing personas, the customer journey maps, there's a few tried and true methods that you'll see kind of touted a lot about, how you develop personas, how you gather the data to do so. A lot of it is in-depth interviews, which are important. They give you a lot of rich, qualitative data, but they kind of generally represent what we call like cross-sectional data, and that's just captured at one moment in time, which gives you a piece of the puzzle, but maybe not the whole puzzle if we're trying to look at the holistic journey. Then we also have ethnography, which is important, in-person field studies. They help capture rich data about people and their environments, and you really see how they interact with not just your product, but with a lot of other products, how they interact with maybe colleagues, interact with the world around them, physical tools, maybe not just software, but pen and paper as well. What are they writing down? So ethnography is really a really great method too, obviously, especially when you really want to learn very deeply about people. Journey mapping workshops, another tried and true method. Oftentimes, at least in my experience, workshops have been utilized a lot for understanding your users' journeys, but they often involve internal experts, so subject matter experts, sometimes external participants, but it's pretty hard to coordinate a workshop with multiple external participants. If you're trying to recruit them, it's generally a little easier to do interviews. And then sometimes people like to leverage, quantitative data if they have it. And that could be, survey data or product analytics or usage data. Just try to see if there's patterns to understand, segmentation, what, if you're seeing a common theme of usage, like do those people have something in common? If so, what is it? Should they be grouped by how they use the product? So these are often what's touted as kind of tried and true methods for personas and journey maps. But I mean, the world isn't perfect. And if we had access, to unlimited time and resources and didn't have constraints, that would be great. But we were working, at least in B2B, there's often a lot of constraints. And one is we were trying to develop this first in the pandemic world. So this was, after COVID had taken off and we had to be remote only at the time, in-person research just wasn't a priority, or we couldn't really do it. And so it's a more remote world, and that's kind of how research is like leaning. I've always done a lot of remote research. I like in-person, but in-person is a lot more time. But as it is, pandemic meant, hey, if we wanted to do this project and develop these personas, we had to only use remote methods. We also had a lot of security and data privacy constraints, and this is also very common in B2B research, especially in finance as well, which is the space we lean towards. There's just a lot of security and data privacy regulations on, capturing user data, how they can send you data. And a lot of it meant that we couldn't use, fancy outside tools. Dscout is a popular one for diary studies, but we didn't really have access to that. Didn't even have access to like Google Drive or anything like that. We had to only use like what we already had internally. And that made it hard. Like we couldn't get people to upload videos for certain reasons. And it was just, we had a lot of constraints there. And that leads us into like technical limitations. At least in B2B, users often work on like vastly different types of technical setups. And sometimes their organizations have their computers very locked down. They can't even download, a different web browser. Like for example, I've tried to use some usability testing software before, and the participants need to use Google Chrome. That didn't really work well in B2B because a lot of people aren't using Chrome. They might be using Firefox. They might be using, back in the day, Internet Explorer, and they weren't allowed to download Chrome. So there's always a lot of technical limitations. So it has to, whatever projects we do have to really be as low touch as possible sometimes, because we just don't, our participants, you have to go with what they're allowed to do. And we also just had very limited analytics data. I'm not sure how common it is, but at least at BlackLine, It's about a 20-year-old company, and you'll kind of find companies that maybe, in the grand scheme of things, 20 is kind of old and older in the tech world. And we just didn't have a lot of great analytics data to work with. A little bit. We had some basic usage data. We didn't have a lot of clickstream analysis though, so we couldn't really find patterns of how people were using the products, how they were navigating in and out. And so we didn't really have a good view of like what patterns were actually happening. So because of all this, I thought, well, can't really go in person. We don't have a lot of analytics or quantitative data. We have a lot of technical limitations. Like, what is the best path forward given all of this? And so I was thinking, well, we could try to do like a diary study, which basically is just a method where you just have people describe their experience using your products or just their experience for anything across time. That's all it means. It's instead of an interview, you have it across time. And like I said, it's longitudinal, which is just, fancy word for saying the data collection spans a predetermined time period. It's user captured data. So participants, log their diary entries throughout the study. They could be written entries. It could be video entries. It could be really, any method of entry. It's all data. And you use a consistent sample. So you engage the same participants throughout the study to follow along their journey. And those are kind of like the three big hallmarks of what constitutes a diary study. I think sometimes there's a misconception that you need a fancy tool like DScout, or you have to have videos for it to be a diary study. You don't. Diary studies are a tried and true method in the whole like sociology and psychology field. So they've been around a long time. They've just been kind of modified for UX research. But at the end of the day, it's just having users write down their experiences over time and then sending it in. And that was basically what we had to go with to develop these personas and customer journey maps. And I decided to do interviews as well. So I'll talk about that later, but it was kind of a mixture of interviews, diary study, which I'll get into in a minute. But kind of just to lay the groundwork, when we should use diary studies. One, you want to understand, habits and usage scenarios. So when and why do people use your products? Your attitudes and motivations. What are people trying to accomplish? What are they thinking and feeling while they're using your product, or just in their day-to-day lives in general? Are there challenges? Are they running into challenges with their products? And particularly what's good with the diary study is, do they run into different challenges at different points in time, different steps in their journey? If there's a challenge one day, there might be a different one a week later. And this is really important, in my opinion, for B2B, but especially like with us in the finance space. We have in accounting, there's like a monthly cycle of when you need to like report your financial data and like close your books. And so for me, it was important to, for us, it's important to kind of capture that entire cycle, because, they might have a lot more challenges at the end of the month versus the beginning of the month when they're trying to do all of that. So it's important to think about like holistically, what is the typical life cycle of a person going through our products, and then making sure the diary study spans that, and thinking about considerations there as well. And then this is kind of what we're getting into, is defining the customer journey. What is the general user journey for when people interact with your organization across various touch points? It doesn't just have to be the customer journey, the journey through using the product, but also, okay, how are they doing with maybe training, maybe onboarding, learning the product, ongoing maintenance, really kind of defining the holistic touch points and understanding, what's going on there. So to kind of go through the setup of how I conducted this, I started out actually with a pre-study brief done remotely via, chat client like Zoom. We use Microsoft Teams at our company, so use Teams. But we just do like a quick 20-minute pre-study brief. And this was important to kind of set the groundwork and have everyone understand, what was going to be asked of them, make sure they were on board. And this took place, after we did recruitment. Initially, we did recruitment and chose like 16 people that we wanted to participate, and sent them the invites to the pre-brief, and then just made sure, they understood what their responsibilities were. And it's always good to oversample a little bit, because people will drop off in diary studies. I mean, it's a big time commitment on their end. It's also a big time commitment on our end. So I think we started with 16, and then it actually ended up with like 13 people actually completing it. We still got some data from the other 3, but it is what it is. It's people get busy and forget, but so it's important to oversample sometimes. And then I sent them 4 different diary logs, and I'll show kind of what it looked like in a second. And then we had a little bit of product usage data, not a lot, but a little bit, that I kind of was looking at on the back end as well, as people were sending in their diary logs over the course of a month. After I sent one, basically it took the form of kind of a survey, and I'll show you in a second. But basically, once a week, I sent it out to all the participants, asked them to send in their answers by the end of the week, thinking about the previous week, and it was the same set of questions to ask them, and they were able to type free form. But it was basically just capturing over time, like what were the different goals that they were trying to accomplish that week, what challenges did they run into that week, a few other questions, but basically just kind of high level, like what was going on, and then specifically what was going on in their lives, and then specifically, hey, what was your experience with our products? How were you using it this week? When did you use it? For what? So basically the same set of questions, but it was great because we got different answers every week, and we could really start filling out the whole picture. And then at the end, after everyone had submitted all their diary entries, I started going through and analyzing all of them, particularly pulling out what challenges that they had week over week. And after that, I invited everyone who completed the study to a follow-up interview. They were all lasted about an hour, and this was great because I was able to really dig into some of their answers. Sometimes people are a little short-winded when they're writing. Sometimes people are longer-winded, which is good. But this way, if there were questions outstanding that I had about any of their answers, I could really dig in with them one-on-one. And that was really important to add in a lot of color as well. So at the end, we ended up with 8 personas and 6 journey maps. And the reason there's a difference in numbers there, I'll get to in a second. But all of this said and done, after going through all the data and all of that, we ended up coming up with a decent number of personas. And 8 sounds like a lot, but it was kind of important. Like I said, we have a pretty diverse user base. And I started just picking apart, like making sure that there was enough difference between, in motivations and challenges and all of that. And it ended up being, 8. And then we had 6 journey maps, and I'll kind of go into the formation of those in a second. But like I said, just quickly, we had a low-tech tool stack. We used MS Teams, but any video chat client will work. We used MS Forms, which is just, a form, and participants submitted their entries via that. And then we had a qualitative analysis tool. We used one called Dovetail, if you've heard of it, but there's really no right way to analyze diary study data. I've run one in the past where we put everyone's answers on sticky notes and affinitize them. So you don't need any fancy tools. It just might take a little extra time, but it can be as low tech as you want it to be. To give you a quick glimpse of like what our diary was, it was really kind of a survey. And it was a lot of like free form answers. Participants wrote out their thoughts about their weekly goals, challenges, few specific prompts, and then they submitted them each week. And this was, like I said, very low touch, but I also had them kind of rate, here's their challenges on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being least frustrated and 5 being the most. How frustrated did that challenge make you? And I kept it pretty open. I didn't want to like say. I kept the answers pretty open-ended. And then I also, it's not represented here, but I also asked about challenges with our product too. And if they had contacted support for any reason, if so, what that was. And so it was pretty general, and then it got a little bit more specific. As for the analysis, like I said, we use a tool called Dovetail. You don't have to, but I basically organized the diary entries and interview data by week and coded it by job title to kind of get holistic picture of the persona segmentation and their journeys. This was good because I was able to start seeing the patterns. So I was looking at this kind of by job title, just seeing what kind of patterns were emerging here and analyzing. And that was good. And then we started developing the personas to kind of look at these different job areas, I kind of called them. The job titles could vary, but the job area is kind of similar. And we ended up developing some personas for some job areas that we had never really talked about in the company before. We didn't even really know. We were taking this to the product team and other teams. A lot of people didn't even know that some of these roles existed. Like one called like finance project manager is a heavy user of our products. It's not our largest percentage of our user base, but they're heavy users of our products. And so having new roles that were represented was really kind of a nice insight that we were able to bring back to the team. But kind of going into the persona and journey map creation. Like I said, we had 8 personas come out of this, 6 journey maps. And one of the big insights that kind of came was we ended up having a bit of a division between mid-market and enterprise. And after looking through all the data, this kind of comes up in B2B a lot, but you might look at your solutions when you're selling them as kind of selling to large companies. So that could be global companies, 100,000 employees, represented all over the world, or kind of like maybe smaller, what we call mid-market, not quite so large. But their goals and challenges and motivations and everything ended up being quite different. Even if they were in the same job title, their activities and their goals and their challenges were different enough that we started splitting the personas between enterprise and mid-market. So we had like an enterprise accountant, or we had like an enterprise controller who's just the head of accounting of an organization, or a mid-market controller. Their duties end up being quite different. And I'll just quickly kind of go over this before kind of what came out of this. So for the mid-market, some of the key insights is the same job title will wear multiple hats compared to more specialized roles at larger companies. Their challenges often center around lack of time and resources and less on technicalities of the system. They desire more hand-holding if the system is complex, which was kind of kind of flipped the assumption that like larger clients with more complex use cases need all the hand-holding. That's a big assumption that I think that happens in B2B research, but we actually found the opposite, that all of our participants from the kind of mid-market sector, they were the ones who kind of were like, this is hard to learn. I need more, I wish we had more help. And then our organization is like, they're a little lower touch because they're not as complex. But it was really kind of the opposite And they often blame themselves instead of the products, which was interesting. We always try to say it's the system, not you. But they were actually blaming themselves a lot, instead of the products for, not having the time to learn it as well as they could, not, just not having the resources to really dig into our products, because our product suite is pretty complex, and it takes a while to learn. And then for enterprise, we developed personas for more specialized roles, generally only found at larger enterprises. And like I said, that was some of those job titles that we never really considered before. They also desire more tools for self-service and less reliance on our organization, which, like I said, kind of flipped that assumption. Because they have just a lot more employees, and they have more specialized employees, and they have a lot more resources, and they're more willing to take on and do their own work, in terms of like if they want to implement their products, they're more willing to do that. Whereas mid-market, they might need a lot more help with implementing and getting set up. And their challenges often focus on issues with the system, working with client support, and more. And they're less likely to blame themselves. They're more likely to blame the system. So those are just some key insights that came out of our diary study. And just both of them will desire a powerful system with an easy to use user interface. And long trainings can't replace a seamless experience. Training comes up a lot too. And the journey, and I think it's an important piece to capture within our journeys. Now, we did use UXpressia to actually create the personas and the journey maps. However, I didn't include them here just because there's like some sensitive data in there, and I didn't want to have it out there in the world. But I did kind of recreate what the anatomy of our personas were that we put into UXpressia. So we had client type, and by client type, I meant, okay, was this enterprise or mid-market? We also have a level called strategic. Those are like the really big clients. And this is kind of important to kind of understand where these job titles kind of sit. Client demographics, that's, for us, that was like number of employees, size of the user base. This was important for our product stakeholders to kind of understand, okay, well, how big are these clients? How big is the user base? All of that. Background and responsibilities. So that was all, was the background of this persona, this person, what are their like high level responsibilities within their organization. And those are really, like I said, ended up being very split between enterprise and mid-market. Mid-market personas, even though it was the same job title as the enterprise persona, they were wearing a lot more hats, because you have to wear a lot more hats at a smaller company or mid-sized company. And so the division kind of started around their responsibilities. Level of influence, and by level of influence, I mean, what is their influence in decision making for their company in terms of buying, a software, using a software. Are they a decision maker or decision influencer? This is important for marketing stakeholders in particular, and sales stakeholders, people in the sales teams, because they want to know if I'm talking to this persona, someone in this role, are they the ones making decisions? How do I talk to them? A lot of sales software now is starting to become very persona focused. Like, here's a playbook if you're talking to this type of person. So that's important for those departments to understand. Jobs to be done. Jobs to be done is similar to like activities. It's kind of your duties. It's just a different, it's its own kind of framework that we use. I won't get into it because it could be its own talk on its own. But basically, it's kind of, just think of it as like kind of their activities, their duties, what they're trying to accomplish. Challenges. So what challenges do these personas have overall? And it could be with our product, it could be challenges in general. When you're looking at when you're looking at an overview of challenges, maybe not just with your product, but in general, like a lack of time, a lack of time to learn a system. That's not necessarily a specific pain point with your product. However, it probably means that your product is too hard to learn on its own, too hard to understand, and people feel like they need a bunch of training, and that's a problem in and of itself. So it all feeds together. Desired outcomes, that's a part of the jobs to be done framework. It's very similar to like motivations. What are our users trying to accomplish? Are they trying to reduce manual workload? Like reduce the time spent on manual work, things like that. And then I added some quotes, obviously, because I think quotes are always very powerful. And it shows that, all of this is based on real data. And then we had user roles. This may or may not be as relevant to you. We have, at least the way our system is set up, people log into different user roles, and we wanted to use the personas to kind of get away from talking about people based on their user role. By user role, I mean, I might log into something as a user, you might log in as an admin, that's what we consider user roles. Touch points, and this could touch points with our entire organization. So for us, we have like client support, training, we have a community, we have, communications, marketing, what are the touch points that these different personas are engaging in. And it's different depending on, what level they're at. So for us, the accountant is probably not as engaged with our events that we put on in our community, but someone at a director level might be. Accessibility needs as well. That's, anything related to accessibility. And then we have product usage and engagement. And that last point, we actually did several rounds of feedback with the personas and journey maps, and I took a lot of feedback in, and that was one that product team members and designers really kind of wanted included. And that's because it kind of helps them understand how these personas are actually, how much they're using their products, what they're doing. And this is kind of an example. So if you can see the graph, which this was made in UXpressia as part of the persona, we had some of the activities that you can do in our product is called like, you can prepare data, you can review or approve data, create or edit reports, things like that. You can view, and then you have like setup and maintenance. And so we kind of had this graphical representation to show what each persona, like how involved they are with these different activities within our different product suite. And this was helpful especially for our designers to kind of see, okay, if I'm designing for this type of persona, these are what they're heavily involved in. These activities they're heavily involved in. And that helps me understand how to design a more personalized experience for them. And like I mentioned, I'm just recreating the journey map because I couldn't put the actual one in here that I created in UXpressia. But basically, kind of after all of the data came in and all of that, I was looking at over time, what are the different steps that our users are going through. And as a high level, I created a very high level map and then got specific into each persona map. And what was nice, especially about using UXpressia, is we could put multiple personas into a journey map, which was nice because then we could show, how the different personas are interacting with one another, either their actions, at least in our system, and it's probably true with a lot of B2B software, is there's a lot of interaction, especially in accounting. there's a lot of actually a lot of regulation and compliance where whoever prepares data, someone else has to review and approve it, and then they have to send it off for other approvals, and there's a lot of interaction. And what was nice is we were able to actually capture a lot of that information in UX Pressia, because we could show the flow of what was going on in the system and who it was going to, and who was taking certain actions. So then we also did had like process and channels, which is what's the process people are going through, and what channels that could be, whatever tools that they're using. It could be our software, it could be other software, it could be email, typing in chat, phone calls, anything like that to get this work done. So it's not just, so we're getting out of our specific product and looking holistically. Touch points, that's kind of like the different touch points with our organization. Like I said, if they're looking at different departments. Third-party products, I specifically highlighted third-party products because I think it's kind of important for us to know what other systems that they're using, why they're using them, what they're using them for. Are they using it in place of our product, even though our product can do the same thing? And why is that? Their experience, so that's just kind of the, smiley face or frowny face, like if this is an area that they get super frustrated on. And so I would look at all that like data around challenges week over week, and that kind of helps me map out, where the experience or where the challenges were across the complete journey. So challenges, and then also I included quotes again. And so like I said, I created like one big high level map where it showed our different personas kind of interacting with one another, and then I kind of broke it down into individual persona maps. And so to wrap up, I think I have a few more minutes. Putting the personas and journey maps into practice, it's important. You do all this work and you put all this data together, and you really want to make sure it's used and put into practice. So we did a bit of what we called a roadshow, where the research department, which was just me at the time, I was the single researcher at the time, put all this together, and then we went on a roadshow where we started presenting all the personas and journey maps to a lot of different departments. I don't think I even captured them all here, but obviously with design, engineering, client support, training, product, marketing, customer success, probably a few more that aren't represented here. And we started going on a roadshow and saying, hey, these are here and we want you to use them. But it really comes down to like a so what, right? Like you presented and you want them to use it. And then everyone is kind of like, okay, so what does that mean for me? How do I use this? So it was important to kind of tweak our presentations for each department to kind of say, okay, and this is how you can use it. So like with training, that was a big one, because training is at least in B2B, that's a big component of the user experience, like how people learn to use the system. And training, started actually, they were kind of revamping their content at the time. And so when we delivered the personas information and the personas to them, they started thinking, okay, well, obviously the mid-market, they don't have a lot of time. The personas within that space don't have a lot of time, right? That was something that kept coming up in our data. Like they don't have a lot of time to learn, and if they set things up wrong or not in the best way, they don't have time to go redo it. And so they started thinking, okay, let's organize content based on this. And so that was really powerful to see that they were thinking, okay, for kind of the smaller clients, like we want to start kind of organizing content for them, for that persona, and then organizing content for kind of the larger enterprise personas, because they kind of they just have different challenges in their day-to-day life. And so that was interesting. So there's always like so what can we do with this at the end of the day type of reaction. And so it's important to kind of know your audience and understand what they care about, and make sure that, they can actually utilize the personas and the journey maps. One thing we did do, at least in product department, product and design, and we wanted to take baby steps with it, but we utilized this tactic called the Lean UX Canvas, which is basically a workshopping session. And one of the first immediate impacts that we saw was when we had these personas and we actually published them. When you get to the area that says like users and customers, that box number 3, designers, product managers, engineers, myself, we all started actually bringing in the personas and putting them in there and talking about them and representing them in that space versus like, okay, this is just a system admin, or this is just a basic, user role, or just, it was kind of like faceless before. We weren't really putting real representation of the people we serve. And we actually started putting that in there. And I think it really started changing the conversation a lot when we started bringing this into workshopping sessions, synthesizing sessions. Like if we're running data research projects and we have the data, we can say, okay, the person who said this is our kind of mid-market accounting manager versus like an enterprise accounting manager. Maybe they have different things that they were saying. And we really did notice a big kind of shift as people started thinking about that. I can give one example where, like I said, one of the big findings was that the mid-market personas, like they just were like, I don't have time to learn. I just need something, I want more hand-holding. Whereas the larger clients were like, I don't know, if you give us more self-service tools, we're willing to take on that work. And they were looking into developing more of a, long story short, just a easier way to onboard people with less reliance on our organization to help onboard people. And when we had those personas and we started bringing them in, we were able to say, okay, make sure that this is so easy that the people in the mid-market that don't have a lot of time, like we have to serve them because this is who you're intending it for. And it has to be so easy that they can do it and they can do it quickly. Can't be complicated. So it really started to help shifting that conversation a bit. I know I'm almost out of time, but I'm almost done. Another way we started incorporating personas in our research repository, which like I said, was called Dovetail. I created kind of, if you look over on the side, there's kind of these like universal tags, as you would say, which can span across several different projects. So I kind of created tags just related to personas, and that way, whoever's running a research project and is bringing in interview data, if one of the persona types mentions that they struggled with something or they have some motivation, we could now have a universal tagging system and start highlighting across projects like, oh, this person, this accounting manager said this, I'm going to tag it. And now everyone who's in Dovetail, who's in our repository, can kind of see that these are being updated. And the personas are, personas and customer journey maps should be what I consider like live documents. Like they shouldn't be static. They should be regularly revisited and updated, especially as, products, your product is going to change and evolve over time. And maybe that introduces less challenges, maybe it introduces more challenges, who knows, but it's important to kind of make sure you're revisiting over time. And so this kind of helps us keep it current and making sure that just keeping the personas current. And I have changed them quite a lot. I've added quite a lot to them as more information comes. We're not even done making personas. We have even more that we need to look at. So yeah, it evolves over time as well. So in summary, one, you can do it. I feel like I hear, I'm a part of a few UX communities, and I hear diary studies come up a lot as a method that people want to try more, but they don't have the tool to do it, or they don't have the resources or the time. You know, I was one researcher at one company. I didn't have access to a lot of resources. The only thing I could really offer was I did offer incentives to the participants. So we did get budget to offer incentives, but otherwise I didn't spend any money on tools or, you know, anything. And it was just me. So it is a lot of work. So that is the caveat, is it is a lot of work, but in my opinion, the rich longitudinal data that we captured was extremely worth it. Like I said, no need for special tools. Figure out the so what when you're kind of presenting your personas. Know your audience. Understand how they can utilize the personas and journey maps so that your work is doesn't just land flat. Like I said, use and update them accordingly. Don't let them be static. Make sure you're constantly revisiting them. If you need to run another study, or maybe want to run a few interviews to update it every now and then, that's always a good idea too, in my opinion. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Nadia, thank you so much for your presentation. We have plenty of questions in the chat, and we have like 10 minutes left. So
All right.
We'll try to answer as many as possible, but I probably will start with the most popular question today. We have like a couple of questions on motivation, which is, how did you keep participants engaged to answer all surveys? Did you give them any feedback? How did you actually motivate them to stay till the end?
Engaged. Yeah, so I think the pre-brief was really important because you can kind of suss out. So that was about a 20-minute remote call. And I also created, so I didn't show this, but I kind of created a couple how-to guides, like what this study is. I called it the get to know you study, because I thought diary study, participants might not know what that means. So I created kind of an info sheet to give to them when I was recruiting. And then I gave them a cheat sheet of like what their responsibilities would be. And then I had the pre-brief calls, about 20 minutes per participant, and pretty much just made sure they understood what the responsibilities were. And everyone said, okay, I understand, I agree. I laid out the timeline. And then every week I sent an email, usually like I think it was on a Monday, I would send the diary for the week. And I would send it, and then to ask them by Friday, can you please submit your answers? And then generally by Friday, I would submit, I just kind of auto-scheduled some emails as like reminders. Hey, if you haven't submitted, please do so. Like I said, I think overall 3 people didn't make it till the end. And I think mostly just because one of them, I think, just got really busy, and like, it was okay. And then I also did, like I said, I did have the budget for incentives at least. I think that's probably the biggest key to getting people to stay. And I actually incentivized each time they submitted a diary study. I think they got like $25 for each diary they submitted. And so they only got it if they submitted that week. So they got an incentive every week. And then at the end, if they completed it, they got a bonus. I think they got like a $100 bonus at the end. I said, if you submit all 4, you'll get an extra, like, I forget how much, but they basically got like a decent bonus at the end if they submitted all 4. So that was another big part of it probably too.
Thank you. And you actually answered the other question that our participants had about the compensation. And we have a set of questions from Lucas, which are pretty close, each one to each other. Did the participants write the diaries by recalling experiences, or had they access to the log all the time? And did you construct the initiative in the way, just a sec, I lost the question. Did you try to construct it in the way to take specific amount of time?
Sorry, could you repeat the first part?
Oh, yes, sure. Did the participants write the diaries by recalling experiences, or had they access to the log all the time?
No, so I asked them to just document their experience for the prior week. So I would send it on a Monday and ask them to think about just the prior week. So I guess it was a bit of recall, but I tried to make it as recent as possible, just because I think people start to forget their experiences, if you wait too long. So I basically just said, hey, think about the last week and what you were trying to accomplish and what roadblocks you ran into and things like that. And then I did it. Yeah, so it was once a week. They were thinking about the previous week, and then I did it a total of 4 weeks, so 1 month. Which I said for us, that's like the typical financial close, what we call the financial close cycle, which is what our software kind of covers. And so what they're trying to do, like the last week of the month or the first week of the month, is very different than what they might be doing in the middle, because it's a lot busier. They're going to be in the product a lot more when they're trying to get all their financial data ready for the month. And so yeah, that comes back to like when you're thinking about when and how people are going to be using your products, it's important to kind of craft your diary study to go along kind of a natural life cycle. I'm thinking like, at least in e-commerce, maybe you want to run a diary study to capture both like the holiday season and the non-holiday season, because people might be shopping a lot more during the holiday season, and you might think they're shopping way more or had different habits than if it wasn't the holiday season. So yeah, I think just thinking through like what mitigating factors could also happen and just preparing for that.
Thank you. And we have a question from Messiah. Can you elaborate on how you identify the initial research candidates? Any challenges with having to go through sales teams versus being able to reach out to users directly?
So we actually, like I mentioned in the beginning, when I started at the company, I started building up an internal user research panel, and so it's about like 1,000 users now, and I basically it's like a form. Basically, and we just promote it in different places like newsletters, sales teams, and so it has people opt in to allowing us to contact them. So I kind of just like figured out the type of profiles that I wanted, or types of people that I wanted to include, to make sure I had representation from the job areas that we wanted to make sure we represented. And so then I like sent out recruitment emails. I chose people mostly from the panels. I do have to go through account managers and sales teams from time to time. And that is more challenging. I will say, if you're able to start building up an internal panel, that's the easiest way to recruit, because people know that they're a part of a program, like a research program, and they opt into it. But when I do have to go through account managers or salespeople, I typically you still look at the profile of like kind of the clients that we want to reach out to. And then basically we just say like, this is what we're trying to do. This is the level of effort on the participants' part. Who can you recommend for us to reach out to? I basically send, when I do have to recruit that way, I send an email of like, okay, what are we trying to do? Why? What's the level of effort and time commitment from the potential participants' perspective?
Just kind of being very clear on that, and it's usually fine. I'll say in B2B, the times where it's not is usually when maybe the client. That's why I always ask the account managers and salespeople first. Sometimes there's like, they know that the client's not super happy at the time, and they're at risk of like not renewing, and then they don't really want you to reach out. But if the client's in good standing, I usually don't have too many issues with that. Luckily, I can go into our CRM, which is just our like Salesforce is what we use. I can kind of go in and look up, who's the account managers for different clients that we want to reach out to. And yeah, we do that sometimes. Like when we're looking at usage data, we can see which client instances might be using certain features like a lot. And so then we'll reach out to those account managers and say, hey, we know we're doing a redesign of this page, this experience. We see that your client uses it a lot, and we'd love to invite them to give their input into the redesign before it goes into production. And that usually works out well because it makes people feel like they're a part of the process.
Thank you. And we have just a little bit of time for one last question. And this is the question from Alexandra. Have you seen already these personas in action? And maybe you can share the impact?
Yeah, like I said, I think one of the biggest impacts, one in action, now when we have presentations, we always try to start, like at least with like research finding presentations, or thinking about like product development, like who is this feature serving? Who is this feature going to be serving primarily? We do try to get everyone to talk in the lens of the persona. So like we have like Eric, the mid-marketing accounting manager, or someone, the enterprise controller. Maybe we're doing some product development around something that's going to basically benefit the more enterprise clients. And so we'll start talking about the personas in that way. Like, okay, this is going to serve, Sean, the enterprise controller, for the most part, and what does he care about, and what are his challenges? And like I showed that little Lean UX Canvas board, like I said, after the personas were developed, we started copying and pasting them into that board when we were running those sessions, and then making sure that the product managers and the engineers and designers and whoever else was in those workshops and kickoffs, like they were actually starting to talk through the lens of the personas. And I made sure to copy and paste. I made little menu cards too, so that which I didn't get into, but basically I made, because the actual personas were pretty lengthy, but the little menu cards, I just highlighted the challenges that each persona had, and then I would copy and paste those into the workshops. And then and it works out well, because then when, product managers or engineers or anyone starts talking about something, some type of solution, you can always kind of point back, say, hey, does that actually touch on this challenge, or is it actually going to help solve this problem? For both of I think for mid-market and enterprise, is it going to help solve the problem for both? Because a lot of times they're thinking maybe more on the enterprise side. I'm like, no, we got to make sure we're thinking of, is this going to help with the mid-market personas too? So yeah, it's definitely been in action. And like I said, I think the training team started reorganizing content and promoting content based on that, based on the persona. So yeah, it's definitely been in action. And that's been cool to see. We can always do more though. I mean, I'm always trying, thinking of ideas of how we can do more. But yeah, I think just a lot of the action comes from just getting people to like start talking about more people, and less like, oh, these are our users and they're kind of like faceless and whatever, but just thinking about people and motivation and challenges, just getting the conversation going.
Thank you so much, Nadia. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing an amazing case, and that's a great work. So once again, thank you for sharing your experience.
If you want to see more events like this, make sure to check the upcoming ones at expressia.eventbrite.com or check the recordings we've got on this channel. Take care, and I will see you around.